There's a moment in every console generation where you can tell almost instantly whether something special is happening. Not because of flashy trailers or big stage presentations, but because of the numbers quietly coming in behind the scenes. And right now, one of the most interesting reports in the gaming industry is that the Nintendo Switch 2 has reportedly reached lifetime sales of over 3 million units in Japan alone. That's not a typo. And if this report holds up, it tells us a lot about where Nintendo is heading next and how dominant the Switch brand really is. Before we go any further, it's important to be clear about one thing. Nintendo has not officially confirmed the number. The figure comes from industry reports, retail tracking, and insider chatter that historically has been very reliable when it comes to Japanese hardware sales. Japan is one of the most closely tracked gaming markets in the world, and when numbers like this start circulating consistently from multiple sources, they're usually not far off. So while this isn't a press release from Nintendo themselves, it's significant enough that it deserves serious discussion. Now let's talk about why 3 million units in Japan is such a massive deal. Japan is absolutely Nintendo's strongest market, but that doesn't mean success is guaranteed. Even beloved consoles can struggle if the timing is wrong, the messaging is off, or the hardware doesn't feel like a meaningful step forward. For the Switch 2 to reportedly move over 3 million units already suggests that demand was not just strong, but immediate. This isn't a slow burn. This is an audience that was ready to upgrade the moment the opportunity presented itself. To really understand the scale of this, you have to look at history. The original Nintendo Switch was a phenomenon, but it didn't instantly become one of the best selling consoles of all time overnight. It grew steadily, driven by games like Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and later Animal Crossing. The fact that the Switch 2 is reportedly hitting these kinds of numbers so early shows that Nintendo is benefiting from something incredibly rare in the industry: sustained trust. Players believe in the platform before the library has even fully matured. That trust didn't come from out of nowhere. The original Switch stayed relevant for an unusually long time. Nintendo didn't rush a successor. They didn't fragment their audience with confusing hardware tiers. Instead, they let the Switch become an ecosystem. For many players, especially in Japan, the Switch became their primary gaming device. So when a successor arrives that promises better performance, smoother gameplay, and modernized hardware while maintaining the identity people already love, the decision to upgrade becomes easy. Another key factor is availability. Recent console launches have been defined by shortages, scalping, and frustration. The PlayStation 5, despite its success, spent years being difficult to find. That kind of situation can severely limit early sales no matter how high demand is. If the Switch 2 is already at over 3 million units in Japan, that strongly suggests Nintendo managed supply far better this time around. People who wanted the console were actually able to buy it, and that alone puts Nintendo in a powerful position. There's also a ripple effect that comes with strong early sales, and it goes far beyond hardware. Developers pay very close attention to install bases. When a console moves units quickly, third party publishers become far more willing to commit resources. That means more ports, better optimization, and in some cases, exclusive content. A strong Japanese install base is especially important because it directly impacts genres like role playing games, visual novels, and experimental titles that thrive on Nintendo platforms. This also sends a message to Nintendo's own studios. Strong sales justify bigger budgets, longer development cycles, and more ambitious projects. When Nintendo knows that millions of players are already on the new hardware, it changes what they're willing to greenlight. That's how you end up with generation defining games instead of safe sequels that play it conservative. What's fascinating is that Nintendo didn't need to reinvent itself to get here. The Switch 2, at least conceptually, is not a radical departure, it is an evolution. And that might be the smartest decision Nintendo could have ever made. The hybrid model still works, portable gaming is still incredibly important in Japan, dock play still matters. By refining what already worked instead of chasing trends, Nintendo positioned the Switch 2 as a natural next step rather than a risky experiment. If these reported numbers are accurate, then the global implications are huge. Japan is just one region. If similar momentum exists in North America and Europe, we could be looking at one of the strongest console launches Nintendo has ever had. And unlike past generations where Nintendo sometimes struggled to maintain momentum after launch, the Switch brand already has a proven roadmap for long term success. Of course, numbers alone don't guarantee a legendary console. Software will ultimately decide that. But strong early adoption creates a foundation that very few platforms even get to start with. It gives Nintendo flexibility, confidence, and leverage. And it gives players reassurance that they're investing in a platform that's going to be supported for years to come. So, whether you're already playing on the Switch 2, waiting for more games, or just watching from the sidelines, this reported milestone is worth paying attention to. 3 million units in Japan isn't just a sales figure, it's a signal that Nintendo understands its audience, understands its strengths, and once again, may be setting the pace for an entire generation of gaming. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more gaming news, analysis, and long form discussions like this, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next upload. Thanks for watching, and as always, game on.